And first up today is living proof. Living proof. I don't know if any of you studied the story, the Broadway girl. She used this term, living proof, the Talk Sharp session. Maybe Eugene studied that. She mentioned also that she was living proof of the American dream. And just like the CEO of Starbucks, he says the same thing in the video, that he is living proof of the American dream. And just living proof is like human evidence, right? Like he's an example, like a living example in the flesh. Like you can look at his life and see that something is possible. So that is like living proof. The example given here would be President Obama. He is living proof that maybe racial discrimination is not a huge barrier for people. Like it's possible to overcome racial discrimination. So yeah, living proof is just like a person's life is evidence of something. Number 2, high end, is kind of like luxury, or like top shelf is another term you hear. Just like, especially like a range of products that are really expensive and really good quality could be called high end. In the video, the Starbucks CEO wants to start cafes that he calls high-end coffee. They sell really premium coffee beans, like rare coffee beans for like $12 a cup, really expensive stuff. So you call this like high-end. You hear about high-end retailers. High-end retailers are just like, I don't know, the shops in the department stores, you know, like maybe 3rd floor and up. We could call those the high-end shops. Like, they don't even have the price tag on the clothing because if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So those are high-end retailers.
Is it opposite expression? Is low-end?
Yeah, low-end, yeah. You could say like high-end or low-end something, yeah. And there are other terms for low-end, kind of like bargain brand or something like that.
Lowest end is possible.
Lowest end? Yeah, it's not common, but you could say that if you want to describe like the cheapest product, Daiso or something, the lowest end.
So budget, something is different from low end, something. Budget.
Yeah, but budget could be
Low end.
low end, yeah. Budget retailers, I think, or yeah, low end retailers. Number 3 is outperform, which just means to do better than. If a company is doing better than another company, it is performing better, it is outperforming. Companies often kind of have rivalries, I don't know. Maybe for the example of coffee, like Starbucks, their American rival is maybe like Coffee Bean. And I think definitely Starbucks is outperforming Coffee Bean. They're doing much better in the world. So they're outperforming, doing better. Number 4, strategic. Strategic describes a plan that has strategy. And strategy is just like chosen paths and like selected outcomes. Basically a solid plan of what something is supposed to do, where people are supposed to go, and how things are supposed to turn out. So if you describe a plan that is strategic, that means it's very well thought out and everyone has a role and they know what they're going to do. So, for example, sports teams often need to make strategies. Like a football team has a strategy playbook and it tells each player where they need to be, where they need to go. And that's a strategic play. Companies also need to apply kind of like strategic plans to their business kind of flow, what they're going to do. So marketing teams often come up with strategic plans to increase sales, things like that. Every company needs a strategy, a plan. Number 5 is a handover, which is when one major person hands over responsibility to another major person. So the CEO of Starbucks is stepping down. He's going to hand over power to another person. That's called a handover. Or often when a president changes, like Donald Trump, I should say Obama hands over power to Donald Trump. That's a handover. And similarly, Park Geun-hye had to hand over power during the impeachment. But it can also happen within companies. Yeah, when leaders change, there's a handover. They have to hand over the responsibility. Okay, any questions about these 5 words?
One. In high end, could we also describe for people or person?
I wouldn't describe a person as high end. In that case, I would describe them as high class, maybe. Like a person is high class.
Okay.
Or you could say like he's a high quality person, a high quality character. High maintenance. But that's like a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants a high maintenance friend. Okay.